Halloween now on the horizon, some of 2024's creepiest and most tantalizing horror flicks are starting to crawl out of the woodwork. Whether you're into the paranormal, slashers, or found footage indies, this spooky season definitely has something for everybody. Now, even though several entries on this list haven't been released officially as of recording, the previews have been nothing but promising. And don't worry, if you don't have time to head to the cinema, there are plenty of spine tinglers coming to streaming too, you lucky lot. So without further ado, I am Gareth, this is What Culture Horror, and here are 10 new horror movies you must watch this Halloween, the 2024 edition. Number 10, Never Let Go. Alexandra Aja has proven to have a talent for handling any kind of horror, be it psychological, slasher, sci-fi, or a creature feature. And the French filmmaker has added another entry to his resume, Never Let Go, starring the great Halle Berry. Hunted by evil spirits, a desperate mother does everything in her power to protect her 2 children. And when one of the kids questions Mama's belief in the paranormal, well, all hell breaks loose. Time and time again, Aja has proven to have a gift for haunting imagery, and Never Let Go is no exception, folks. The supernatural drama is slathered with nightmare-inducing visuals, such as a shot of multiple hands crawling up a tree that's sure to freak just about anyone out. Also, it's nice to see jump scares that are actually scary and don't feel forced for a change. As can be expected from an Academy Award winner, Halle Berry elevates the story with her towering performance here, and thanks to her grounded approach to the role, Never Let Go feels more like a survival thriller than an outright horror, making the character's dilemma more investing. Throw it on this Halloween, you will not be disappointed, folks. Number 9, VHS Beyond. The VHS franchise has sadly been a bit hit and miss since its inception. Despite spawning 5 sequels and 2 spin-offs, the horror anthology isn't exactly known for its consistency. And for this reason, the news that another installment is on the cards isn't necessarily a cause for celebration. Having said that, the details surrounding VHS Beyond are quite intriguing, as rather than churning out more of the same, each short in this entry will focus on sci-fi horror. The change of direction isn't the only reason to get psyched. One of Beyond's shorts marks the directorial debut of Kate Siegel, best known for her collaborative work with husband Mike Flanagan. Speaking of which, the horror author himself penned that segment's script too. So expect some chilling dialogue and a memorable monologue or two. The story, which centers around a cave-like spacecraft, sounds unique, imaginative, and pretty messed up, to be honest. Beyond will also see the return of Justin Martinez, who wrote, produced, and directed sections of the original VHS. Although Martinez has been a bit busy on other films, it's great to see him return to the project he's best known for. And this entry also serves as Justin Long's first writing credit in horror. Even though Long is certainly no stranger to the genre, it'll be interesting to see what the Barbarian star brings to the table when putting pen to paper. So based on all available details, let's hope VHS Beyond is a return to form for the franchise, eh? Number 8, Salem's Lot. Being Stephen King's second novel, it's no surprise that Salem's Lot was among the first to be adapted to the screen. Apart from the 1979 miniseries though, the vampire saga sadly hasn't had much luck. In particular, the less said about the 2004 adaptation, the better. But Salem's Lot is such a fantastic gem, it is awesome to see it getting another shot. Like previous adaptations, the upcoming film centers around Ben Mears, an author struggling with writer's block. Heading to his childhood home with his family to find inspiration, Ben's book suddenly becomes the least of his problems when he learns the town is infested with bloodthirsty vampires. With Conjuring creators James Wan and Gary Doberman overseeing things, this latest Salem's Lot should be every bit as chilling as the source material. Hopefully. Though filming wrapped almost 3 years ago, the project was massively delayed due to COVID and the SAG-AFTRA strike. But with Salem's Lot now ready to drop on Max, the wait is almost over, people. If you're looking for something to stream this October then, I'd say check out the latest adaptation of one of King's most underrated stories. Number 7, Smile 2. The idea of a demon that drives people insane by grinning at them may sound a bit silly, but thanks to Smile's incredible direction, skill, skin-crawling imagery, and stellar performances, the fanbase wanted to see more of that creepy concept. Now, having said that, it would have been disappointing if the sequel just played out beat for beat like its predecessor. But fortunately, Smile 2 is seemingly going in a totally different direction. This sequel centers around pop singer Sky Riley, who's hoping her world tour will turn her into a superstar. However, Sky's newfound fame attracts all sorts of problems, including a leering entity that follows Sky everywhere she goes. Having the plot revolve around a celebrity was a smart move, as Sky's lifestyle involves thousands of fans showing their adoration for her by, you guessed it, smiling. And since her line of work attracts stalkers, it's hard to tell when she's being tormented by the Smile Demon or just a random creep. And who knows, maybe more will be revealed about the Smile Demon and how it came to be in this film. If Smile 2 maintains the same shock and awe as the original, then it could become the next big horror franchise. Hey, it could happen. Number 6, Oddity. When a movie is referred to as the next Longlegs, it is bound to get the attention of horror advocates. Oddity may not have Nicolas Cage caging like his life depended on it, but Damien McCarthy's engrossing ghost story is still sure to leave an impression. In Odyssey, blind psychic Darcy O'Dello is left overwhelmed with grief after the death of her twin. Then, after receiving a haunting wooden mannequin, Darcy realizes it's the first clue to learning what happened to her sister. Now, although the horror genre has a deluge of cliches, Oddity dodges them all. It takes its time expanding on the story without feeling slow. The glut of jump scares don't come across as gimmicky or cheap, since they are legitimately quite frightening, and the violence is intense without being gratuitous. Also, the final frame recontextualizes the whole damn plot, which obviously encourages a rewatch, which is never a bad thing. The actors are phenomenal and the writing is top-notch, but it's McCarthy's innovative direction that makes Oddity endlessly teeth-chattering. McCarthy has such a keen ability to get under the audience's skin, and I'd say the future is looking pretty bright for the up-and-coming filmmaker. Number 5, The Platform 2. No matter how good a non-English language movie is, it can have difficulty breaking into the mainstream. That's why it was incredible to see The Platform become a viral sensation and one of Netflix's most watched original films ever. The satirical Spanish splatterfest takes place in a vertical tower, with the inmates eating from a descending platform. Although the upper-level prisoners can fill their bellies with all sorts of delicacies, the lower levels are left with scraps. Unsurprisingly, it isn't long before this imbalanced system leads to anarchy. Now, subtlety may not have been the platform's strong suit, but the dystopian thriller was entertaining and thought-provoking and pretty gross from beginning to end. And although The Platform felt like a self-contained story, the masses were hungry for more. As such, it's reassuring to learn the second course is almost here, you lucky lot. Little has been given away, but the promotions for The Platform 2 make it look like everything has been cranked up to 11. Since the first installment left many questions unanswered, let's hope the sequel delves into the inner workings and explores the lore behind the facility's unique experiment. We'll just have to wait and see though, yeah? Number 4, Bagman. Not to be confused with Baghead, which was terrible. Bagman follows Patrick McKee, a father haunted by a childhood incident where he was nearly abducted by a kid-snatching entity. Yikes. Now that Patrick has a loving wife and son, he feels like he can finally put his past behind him. But when his child goes missing, Patrick realizes the nightmare is far from over. Now, on the surface, the premise is bare bones. Fortunately, the provocative thriller is directed by Colm McCarthy, who has helmed his fair share of hits, including Sherlock, Black Mirror, and Peaky Blinders. His work on The Girl with All the Gifts also proves that McCarthy has a talent for innovative horror. Promotional material emphasizes that Bagman will be less of a boogeyman story and more like a psychological horror fused with Brothers Grimm-inspired folklore. Sounds good to me. Also, the gleeful and predatory nature of the eponymous creature gives off major Pennywise vibes here. Even though boogeyman horror has always been a bit of a mixed bag, Bagman could reinvigorate the subgenre. Who knows? Number 3, Speak No Evil. Remaking a horror movie is always a risky move, especially when the original only came out 2 years ago. Nevertheless, James Watkins decided to give 2022 Speak No Evil a do-over. over. In this remake, an American family agreed to stay the weekend with a British couple they befriended on holiday. But after the host displays subtle but antagonistic behavior, their guests begin fearing for their lives. In the original, the insidious couple's true intentions remained unknown until the third act. But in this version, it is obvious the pair are up to no good almost immediately. Since the subtlety of the original helped accentuate the tension, it feels like the remake would not work without it. Fortunately though, 2024's Speak No Evil has a secret weapon, baby. James frickin' McAvoy. The Scottish star has a ball as Paddy, switching from charming husband to blazing psychopath and back in a heartbeat. Now, anyone who has seen the original will be reassured to know the remake changes things up in the second half, so the film isn't a carbon copy. So whether or not you've seen the 2022 version, this year's Speak No Evil is still a must-watch. Number 2, Terrifier 3. Terrifier 2 felt less like a slasher and more like an endurance test. Art the Clown's murder spree was so barbaric, even the biggest gore hounds couldn't help averting their eyes on multiple occasions. As hard as it is to believe, the threequel is set to be more gruesome. Yes, more gruesome than that bedroom scene. How is that even possible? According to returning director Damien Leone, the opening sequence alone is sure to test the most hardcore veterans of the genre. Terrifier 3 also has a solid cast, including Jason Patric, horror legend Tom Savini, wrestling icon Chris Jericho, and Samantha Scafildi reprising her role of Victoria Hayes, the sole survivor of the first film. So what's the malevolent jester up to this time, I hear you ask? Well, after narrowly surviving Art's last massacre 5 years ago, Sienna and her brother Jonathan are still trying to rebuild their lives. But as Christmas approaches, Sienna learns that Art is back with a vengeance, offering a ho-ho horrifying experience to anyone who crosses his path. Early buzz indicates the bloodshed in Terrifier 3 dwarfs its predecessors, so it goes without saying that this installment will likely be 2024's most violent film, so be prepared. Number 1, The Substance. Every once in a while, a horror movie comes out with minimal fanfare that manages to immediately enrapture the film community. With that in mind, all signs are pointing to Coralie Fajar's The Substance becoming a classic. The nightmarish dramedy follows Elizabeth Sparkle, a fading celebrity desperate to reclaim her fame by using a black market drug to create a youthful version of herself. Although Elizabeth believes her return to fame is imminent, things take a nasty turn when the side effects kick in. The Substance explores many ideas, including obsession, ageism, celebrity worship, and superficiality. It also throws in a lot of genres, mixing drama, body horror, and comedy, and actually managing to pull off everything it's trying to accomplish. It's very impressive. Fajar's direction and writing is so airtight, The Substance never has a dull moment. Then there's Demi Moore. Even though the Ghost star's career spans 40 plus years, she launches herself into this role in a way never seen before. The acting is excellent across the board, really, especially from Dennis Quaid, but Moore's performance takes The Substance to a whole other level. Anyone who's seeking a truly great horror unlike anything else needs to give The Substance a go as soon as possible. Just do it, you're in for a ride, I promise. Cheers for checking out this frightening list today, my very good friend. And if you are enjoying your lovely self, then hit that subscribe button down below and you're gonna get more of these What Culture horror videos in your life. Sounds like a freaky plan.